much for joining us on episode 1, the official episode of the CalcioTeers. Joining us tonight is Eliot. Thank you so much for joining us. We can see he's a Roma fan.
Yeah, no problem.
This is gonna be an interesting episode. We got a Lazio fan, a Roma fan, and two Juve fans. So this is gonna be really, really interesting. I don't know how it's gonna pan out, but hopefully we're still gonna be friends after all this. Who knows?
We'll see.
Exactly. Yeah. We'll see. On today's episode, we're gonna kind of work through kind of the fixtures over the weekends. We're gonna talk about Champions League and Europa League fixtures. Eliot has kind of like a Romanian tie-in in his group and stuff like that, so he's gonna explain in detail about that as well. And yeah, let's get started. So the first game, Sampdoria, just really surprising us. You know, beating Fiorentina 2-1. Eliot, your team Roma kind of squeezing past Udinese 1-0.
Yeah.
Same with Parma and Verona. Parma coming up with the win for that 1-0. Lazio and Inter. Now this was a scrappy game. Scrappy. We're talking about, you know, our good boy Vidal coming over from Barca with his dirty tricks here and causing some ruckus. Like, what a guy. He learned from the best, eh? He learned from Mr. Sergio Busquets. And, man, do I ever hate that guy. So, that game ending at a 1-1 draw. Sassuolo flying past, could have thrown it 4-1. No surprise there. And the dark horse, Atlanta, beating Cagliari, 5-2. I keep mispronouncing that all the time. But 5-2 in that game. Benevento and Bologna 1-0. Milan and Spezia. Milan coming up with a 3-0 win after that. So, one game we're kind of missing. I mean, the whole Napoli-Juve kind of situation. Francesco, I know you got a little more of the insight of that. I know we're kind of hoping for that game. I know we kind of cracking those grins and smiles right now. Before this kind of happened, this episode, Francesco and I kind of talked a little bit about it. And Francesco, you kind of a theory behind it. What do you think was going on there behind the scenes?
Okay, so what everyone knows on Twitter is Napoli did not release like an official statement saying that they're not traveling to Torino. That was kind of just like hear and say of what's happening. We do know that Almas and Zelensky did get positive for COVID, so that's like kind of why like their whole reasoning of not wanting to play Juve. They didn't feel safe traveling to Torino and playing because of the Genoa situation. Obviously, behind the doors, I have no idea what happened. I'm not like a medical professional. I don't know what happened with the government. But my own conspiracy theory is that ADL over here, the beloved Napoli owner, who is always in the news for political reasons. I have a feeling and a theory that he kind of paid off the local health authorities to say, let's not travel to Torino, let's postpone the game. And as of right now, it's not looking too good for him because Juve are supposedly going to get this 3-0 forfeit win. So we're going to have to wait and see to see what happens for this game. But that's my conspiracy. I just think ADL paid off the local health authorities.
Well, thank you, Serie A Joe Rogan, for that. That was,
conspiracy theory.
Yeah, that was great. Honestly, I kind of heard kind of a little bit what was going on. Didn't really pay attention too much because anything with Juve, I just kind of in one ear out the other. I don't really, pay attention. Yeah, exactly. Joe and Eliot, is there anything you guys want to add to that, or kind of? Obviously, there's hopes for the game, even though there are teams that we don't support. I mean, well, right. I don't support and stuff like that. But
I have something on this. So my thing is, if they were allowed to travel and they refuse to, then I think the Juve should get the forfeit. But if the health professionals prevented them from traveling, then I think it should just be risk-cutted. Because if they have enough fit players and they can make the trip, and they only had 2 positive tests and the rest were negative as far as I know. And so if that's consistent rules, and I think the fact that this is Juve, it's a bad look for the league and how other leagues look at our league. So it's a really unfortunate situation. But again, if they refuse to travel and they were allowed to, then that has to stand as a forfeit, in my opinion.
I agree. So my stance on this whole thing is, my big question is okay, why did the Campania, like the local authorities in Napoli, not allow them to travel? Was it because they weren't following protocols, or was it because the local authorities in Napoli there decided to just kind of go rogue outside of the protocols? You're kind of wondering, that's a bit of a gray area there. What happened there? I mean, it would be hilarious if I found out that ADL paid off the health officials. That would be something out of, that would be the best movie he produces in his with his company there. But
It wouldn't surprise me, to be honest.
I mean, I don't agree with that, but you never know, right?
Yeah.
Real life is better than movies sometimes. I'm sure ADL knows that too.
Indeed.
It's funny though, because like you see the fans are like waiting. Is this gonna happen? Is this not gonna? You see, I saw a picture of like an old non just waiting. He's the poor guy, just mascot waiting
in the stadiums.
waiting. He's like, oh, is this gonna happen? Is this not waiting? And
my question, my thing is too, like, why? Okay, first of all, the fans fine, like they came, they didn't at game time. They kind of just went. They didn't know what was gonna happen. But the players, they knew like 10 minutes. They knew like an hour before the game that Napoli wasn't gonna show up. So why did the Serie A officials allow them onto the field just to talk to people? It didn't make sense at all.
I guess they had to for the win. I think like Juve actually had to be on the field to register that they were there in the stadium.
Wait, they actually went on the field?
No,
yeah, they did.
they were
was on the field.
Yeah, some players
was on the field talking to people.
Hilarious.
It was like just a regular Sunday afternoon, just talking, or whatever. Monday, Sunday, whatever, just talking, whatever. That's a regular day, just twiddling their thumbs, waiting for this to happen.
Wait,
it's
did they line up on the field as if they were going to play a game?
No, the main team was in the locker room. They were just in the back, but some players off the bench, like Buffon and stuff, they were just all talking to the staff members and
I should have brought a nice espresso,
picnic.
Some cookies.
It was really like a picnic.
Cookie sap, some cherry.
Catching up with each other.
Exactly. Yeah, Serie A, great. So, obviously, are we gonna get is it tomorrow? When are we gonna get an official kind of?
I think they said tomorrow.
They said
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, with that, we'll see what happens. I mean, Juve, Napoli, whatever. But it's just kind of how all sorted out in the theories. It's just so funny and interesting to hear people's thoughts behind it. That's really cool. So, let's jump over to Champions League, and we'll talk about Roma and their Europa League there in just a minute. Just a little bit. I'm sure I'm gonna get
a little jabs.
It took you 9 years to finish in front of us, so I'm gonna let you have that.
Hey, listen,
jabs are coming.
Hey, and to be fair, we couldn't get past Bayer Leverkusen in 2016 with the qualifications. We thought we had it in the bag, and second leg we blew it. So fair enough. So let's just we can't really talk for Inter or Atlanta. Let's kind of skip those guys for a little bit. We can't really talk for them. Let's kind of go over our groups and kind of see what do you guys think of our groups and stuff like that, right? Group G, you got Barcelona, Dynamo Kiev, and I don't know the pronouncing of this Hungarian team. Joe and I were trying to figure it out. We asked, Francesco to help us out. I couldn't get nothing. Ferencváros, I don't know. Ellie, do you have any idea of this team?
I do actually. It's flipping my mind now that we're recording.
Tip of the tongue, eh?
There's a Romanian player that plays on that team, and my dad is. I'm Hungarian and Romanian, so I know how to pronounce it. If I saw it in front of my face, I might be able to pronounce it, but I can't.
Okay, no worries. We're not gonna torture you. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I know how to pronounce it. It just slipped in my mind.
Yeah, no worries. So last but not least, we have Juventus, right? So I mean, Barca and Juve here. Obviously, Ronaldo and Messi, just crazy matchup. Joe, Francesco, what do you guys think? Like, what do you think of this group? I mean, obviously, two underdogs of this. Like, do you think they're going to be a potential threat? Like, what do you guys think?
So, okay, I'll go first. I'll say this. I think this is one of those groups for Juve on paper they should easily get through in and probably strive for first. However, I think Nedved said this at the beginning of their 2017 knockout round when they made the finals that year. He said basically, like, it doesn't matter who you face, you have to have the right mentality. So I think that applies completely for Juve. I'm going to look for them to just have the right mentality because I don't think they're going to win every game 4 or 5 nothing against Dinamo Kiev or Ferencváros because, it's just they deserve to be there just as much as Juve does. So I really think Juve is going to have to really show their mentality in this group to get through. I do think they will get through, but I think they're really going to have to show their mentality because if they don't, then who knows what can happen, especially in the Champions League. You just don't know.
Yeah, like Joe said, I think I was watching this draw live with my friends, and I was telling them, I was saying, I want Barca. I want Barca in the group. I want to show people that Juve, we're not scared of everyone. Give us Man City, Atletico, Barca, I don't care. And then when we got Barca, I was celebrating. A lot of Juve fans were probably panicking. I was the one celebrating that we got Barcelona. So I think historically Juve do better against the bigger teams. I think we have more pressure. We have more, I guess, weight on our shoulders to produce for the Juve fans. And then, but at the same time, I don't want to undermine the Dynamo Kiev and the Hungarian team because even though at the Allianz Stadium we might crush them 3-0, but away from home in those environments in Hungary and in Russia, it's so hard to play in those stadiums.
In the Ukraine.
Ukraine, my bad. Yeah, it's such a difficult atmosphere to play against, and that's what people don't understand. So those teams are definitely going to be hard on the away fixture. But I think we should be able to top the group, and that should be our primary goal.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, those are very good points. I'm just excited to see Messi and Ronaldo just square up again. Honestly,
Pjanic and Arthur.
Forget about the whole Messi kind of situation that happened over the summer and him not leaving, whatever. And obviously he's mad. He doesn't really show that he cares. Like his cariness for the team is kind of dwindling a little bit. But I know him that he's going to be like, hey, I'm going to be playing Ronaldo. I'm going to be playing against Ronaldo. Like I'm going to be fired up. I'm going to be go. Like I don't care who I'm playing. I want to be on top. I want to, it's always that little friendly rivalry between the two, right? So that's good. Group F for myself.
I'll add something sure. to that. Sorry.
Yeah, I want to say one thing on that too.
Matchup. Yeah, sorry. The one thing that'll be the most interesting, I think, because I'm a football hipster like that, is the Cuadrado versus Ansu Fati matchup. Ronaldo and Messi are going to be face each other, but that Fati and Cuadrado matchup is going to be the most interesting.
Yeah. Don't forget about Pjanic and Arthur.
Oh, Pjanic.
Arthur should dominate him, so that's not even a matchup, really. But,
Yeah, till this day, I still think I'm like, why? Like, I know you guys have your reasons and stuff like that of why, just you guys got rid of him. It's like, I would just love to for Pjanic to stay in the league. Like, I know he's had his ups and downs, but it was just such an interesting player, and it's like, for him to go to Barca, it kind of hurt a little bit. Like, even though he's playing for Roma at the time or Juventus, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, very, very sad for him to go for sure. But yeah, sorry, Ellie, was there something that you wanted to add?
Yeah, I just want to. My prediction is, I think Ronaldo will be outplayed by Messi twice, but Juve will win the group. That's my prediction.
Interesting.
So Messi will. Ronaldo will probably have one of those games where he doesn't do much for most of the game, but then he'll have a moment. And then people who didn't watch the game will look at the score and think he was world class. Yeah. And Messi will. His team isn't very good right now, but I think he's going to have some runs where he just sends people on the floor. So I think Messi's better just personally now and whenever. But I think Messi will come out of those games as the superior player. But because Juventus had the superior team, they'll end up winning the group, and I think Barca will probably get in second. But that's my theory.
I agree with that.
Yeah, no, that's right, because obviously Barcelona had a big drastic change with coach, players leaving. You know what I mean? They're not that squad that we know, right? Obviously, there's Messi and stuff like that, but I mean, Messi can only do so much. And you look at Juventus; they've been kind of playing together for some time. Obviously, there's been some changes and stuff like that, but
Yeah, for sure.
Eliot,
I don't think they're a world-class team, but I think they're better than Barcelona at this point.
Yeah, no, you made a great point. Moving on, is there anything you guys want to add before I move on? Like that?
I want to talk about the Atalanta group just because it's an interesting one.
Me
They
too.
have Ajax and Liverpool, which are both like very offensive-oriented teams, so those will be some firecracker matches. I think Atalanta will actually slip through there, but man, those games will just be so interesting in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think they'll beat Liverpool once.
Yeah,
Yeah?
definitely. In Bergamo.
Maybe even twice. My thing is this: people talk about Liverpool's attack, but their attack is basically flown through their front three, and their advantage is defending. So if they have problems defending, then it's just a different problem. Where Atalanta attack everywhere, they get goals from every position. Liverpool doesn't do that. So because of that, I think Atalanta will get one of them because I think Liverpool will probably look down on them as a not an equal threat. And after seeing them get crushed by Aston Villa over the weekend, that makes me think even more. Maybe I think they get one. They might be able to get two, just because it's going to come down to whether Atalanta can defend. But if neither team defends, Atalanta will win because they have more attacking pieces, where Liverpool's front three is the big weapon.
Very good point. Very good point. Back to that Aston Villa Liverpool game. I was like smiling from year to year, smiling because teams like this, they need to kind of get sent down a little bit from the habit down there. Because listen, like there's going to be times where you can't go in games like we got this, and it was kind of wake up call for Liverpool. So I
have one thing to add on that, to the arrogance thing, Liverpool. That's a good point because, and I'm not sure why this isn't mentioned more often. After the last year's Champions League game against Atletico, Andrew Robinson, after the in his post game interview, you said they celebrated as if they won the tie against as a manager like Simeone, who uses mental advantages. So I feel like he took that phrase and put it on a board and told his players to remember what he said. And then in that game, in extra time, they were outplayed by Liverpool, but those little moments allowed them to do that. So if that happens again, if they go into the Atalanta game and they win at Anfield like 3-0, I feel like they're going to say something that's going to set Atalanta off, and they'll blitz them at the Bergamo.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's. I mean, Robinson too. He's known for his mouth, right? I mean, like him and Messi kind of went at it the one time or two times and stuff like that. So I mean, that's the thing. Arrogance is, it can get you in trouble, right? And that's what happened. So I mean, if Atalanta, we see last season what they did in the Champions League. I mean, blew us away. So I'm sure if we all stick together, they'll manage to go.
They just can't start slow like they did last season. They have to start well from the jump.
Yeah. Well, they almost didn't make it, right? So it's just like, and then they caught us like surprised, right? So it was it was good. It was good. Okay. Is it safe to go to my group, guys? Can I go to my group? Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
We're good. Okay. Now Group F. I'm pretty nervous about this group. I'm not gonna lie. Zenit, they did lose some players over the transfer season. I get that, but still, I don't know. So kind of a rough go, I think. But we're gonna get the win. Club Brugge, honestly, they gave Real Madrid the last time a pretty tough go. Like, when they fought hard, they went go, and Real Madrid were looking like, who are these guys? These weren't the guys that we were thinking we were gonna play. Like these guys are fast, they're quick, they know how to, defend hard and stuff like that. And then obviously Dortmund. I mean, geez Louise, like Dortmund out of all German clubs, like, obviously I didn't want Bayern, but like, can you give me someone else other than Dortmund? And so I mean Haaland, if he stays, fit in form, he's gonna give us big trouble. Hazard too. Ever since he's been with the club, I think he's been great. He's just such a quick and easy player. Those tight corners and stuff like that. So I feel like Lazio, it's going to be dicey. Like if I were going to make a prediction, we're just going to make it. Just going to make it. This is going to be easy group for us. I'm scared. Like literally, I'm saying as a Lazio fan, I'm terrified. So I'm going to back up my club though at the end of the day, and I feel like that we're just going to just slip, just go there. And I'm not going to have the mentality of, oh well, we made it. Oh, we'll at least go to the Europa League. Like I'm sick of the Europa League. Enough of the Europa League. Done so. I want Champions League. I want to hear the champions. I want to hear that. Okay, so enough. I feel like we're gonna go through, but just like barely hanging on. And again, I feel like still after the signings we made, it's not convincing me that we have enough depth as a squad.
No way.
The whole David Silva thing, we didn't wake up from that. We were still shocked. We're still in the cradle position with their thumbs in our mouth. It's like, okay, are we gonna sign a replacement? Are we gonna do it? Like they were after Juan Mata, and I was like thrilled when I heard about that. Like, do everything that you can. I know they got Pereira. That's great, but like I feel like
27 million though. That's so much for someone who's
hefty.
not.
Dude, that's hefty. That's hefty. And I feel like
Mind games over here from Roma fans.
yeah. I like the signing, but like the money. That's like
I do too.
Money.
But
Yeah.
when I saw the price, I'm like, this is a joke, right? Like
Yeah.
they're not really paying 27 million for a guy who's got 4 goals for Manchester United or something like that.
He wasn't the guy that made the difference. He wasn't the guy that made the difference at United. And it's not like, oh, Pereira. It's not like they chanted his name. It's not like every kid's wearing his jersey. He's not the
Right, and it's
maker.
Man United isn't that strong either. So
Exactly.
if you're signing a player who's not that strong, who didn't get into the Man United team on a consistent basis, then you could have just stolen the next kid. But at the same time, if he's not getting into that team, it's just hard to say because I think at this point, I think their best player. There are players on their team that would probably start over if you just like combined them, but top to bottom, I think you have a better team than they do. So if that guy isn't getting into that team, how is he going to get? It's just the price. I mean, if this was like a loan deal or like 7 million or something like that, then it's different. But the fact that he wasn't even getting game time and you're paying that much for someone who you don't know is going to be that good, with it, I don't know. It just seemed like a strange one to me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know. And Zaghi mentioned it too. He's like, oh, and again, it kind of seems ridiculous to kind of bash my own team, but like they kind of need the bashing a little bit. They need to kind of wake up.
He's so annoying.
I love the guy, but I can't stand the fact that when he says something, it means the total opposite. Like after Corona, for example, we're gonna win Scudetto. They kind of hyped us up. He hyped us up, and then we all know what happened after that. We caca the bed. Obviously, it happened.
Yeah.
Circumstances, right?
This is great. This is great.
Well, no, guys, I gotta be honest. I can't lie and praise my team all the time.
Yeah, fair enough.
We went to kind of.
He complains so much too. Like when it's not necessary.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm laughing. I think it's just because like Fernando's complaining, and then Eliot as a fan is just like egging him on too. It's hilarious.
It's the cock and derby. It's the cock and derby. The rivalry lives on.
I love it. At the end of the, it's what makes the sport beautiful. We have our agreements or disagreements and stuff like that. But I mean, again, at the end of the day, I felt like we're gonna talk more when we're grading our teams. Like I'll give them a fair grade, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna go in depth more. But again, I don't know. We're sleeping we're gonna just get past that group and that's it. And I swear, if we go to Europa League, I'm flipping a bowl of pasta. I'm gonna flip it. I'm gonna flip it. That's it. See you later. Enough. I'm retired. See you later. Okay, so now let's move on. Do you guys want to add anything else to the group?
I think you get crushed by Dortmund twice, but you'll easily get through, in my opinion. I think Dortmunds are going to be the one. I don't see a scenario with Sancho and Haaland and Brandt and Hazard. I mean, it's going to be ugly. I think the Dortmund game is going to be really, really ugly. But I think the rest of the group you'll be able to handle easily. Yeah. As long as it's like if you want to win those games, you should be able to. If you don't take it as seriously, then something else. But you should be able to do the double against the other teams in your group. But Dortmund's they're just better, so they're gonna beat you.
Yeah, no, 100%. The attack is dangerous at Dortmund. It's stupid dangerous. Like,
and they have depth too.
There you go. Depth, something we don't have, and we lack like year in year out. I find, like, I don't know. It's just something about Lazio. It's like they're allergic to depth. They don't want to.
Yeah, they do.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. They made some okay signings, but like, I don't know. At the end of the day, I think they should have went more of an overhaul. That's my opinion, right? So
yeah,
should have bought Bernardeschi. Yeah,
sorry.
They should have bought Bernardeschi.
Oh yeah, right.
And Kadira.
Just for him to warm up.
Rugani.
No thanks. No.
That's good depth there. That's good depth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to the Europa League. We're just going to Group A, Roma. So interesting fact, Eliot. So you have Romanian tie. You mentioned you got your Romanian and Hungary ties here.
Yep.
Explain a little bit more of your Romanian kind of tie, because
So I was born in Cluj, and so I came to the U.S. when I was a kid, all that stuff. But I always, internationally speaking, I've always supported the Romania over the U.S. Just because I was born there, and I have a sense of pride about that part. Plus, I don't like the U.S. teams, but that's besides the point. But yeah. So anyway, so Cluj is my hometown club. I have seen more trophies with Cluj than I have with Roma, and it's not even close. Yeah. So Cluj is like I don't know how to explain it. I prefer Roma, obviously, but I'm always checking in on Cluj and how they're doing in the league, and I have notifications to my phone when they play and stuff like that. And I don't get to watch all the games, but I've seen them play live. I've been to the stadium. I have a family member who's associated with the club. So I really love them. I really do. Because that's my hometown team, like in real life. I live now. Where I live has a hometown team, but I was born there. So I just want them. I want them always in Europe, and I had so much joy of them just the last couple of years getting results against certain Italian teams in the Europa League last year and stuff like that. So obviously, I hope they do well. I don't know exactly what I want, because I've been asked by so many different people of what I'm going to do. Because the thing is, I can't cheer against Cluj. So when they play, I might just. I kind of want it like this. I would like Roma to win all the games they can. So they win all the games except one. I want Cluj to beat Roma in Romania. And at that point, because this is the easiest group in the whole competition, in my opinion. So we're gonna win like 6, whatever in a row, 5 in a row. And our place for the next round will already be qualified. We'll be in first place, and everything will be fine. So I'll be okay if we go to Cluj and they beat us.
Okay.
So.
All right. Cool. I was just going to say.
Elliot, weren't Lazio with Cluj last year in the Europa
I was just about to say
the
that.
Jab. It's the constant jab.
It was a subtle shot. I said
The subtle shot. It's always happening.
Yeah, they were.
Okay, I'm done now.
Realistically speaking, as far as Cluj, they're much better than the other 2 teams in the group. I see some people picking young boys, but Cluj has players who have scored in these games, and they're not shy to these games. They don't go deep, but they're always there, and they always somehow get results against bigger teams. They were in a group last year with Celtic and Lazio, and they managed to progress. So I have faith that they'll get second without any problems.
Okay.
But, yeah, it was a shuttle shot. I just
had to throw the salt in the wounds there, Joe, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Elliot, do you remember which team didn't qualify in that group?
Oh no.
Sorry. I remember. No, because for a second, I forgot.
For a second, you
Just a shot
forgot for a second. That's hilarious.
The thing is, I forgot. once Cluj qualified, I stopped caring that who else got through or who won the group. All I remember is winning that game. And then I was like, this is great. They're going to qualify. And then I just stopped paying attention until the end.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Oh man, this is great. Just getting roasted.
We should put Eliot on with the Lazio Club of Toronto guys, and then that would be an interesting.
That would be interesting. That would be interesting.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, no.
I know. I'm cool with a couple Lazio fans, so it's all good.
Yeah,
and I can handle myself. I have 3 podcasts.
Yeah. I have 3. You should get a T-shirt. I have 3 podcasts. We'll get you a T-shirt. So with I was gonna make a suggestion too. Why don't you have just like a Roma and a Cluj shirt just sewed in? So you know.
Oh yeah.
You use this.
That'd be nice actually. I'd be okay with that. Yeah. Or like a one of those flags that is one half one team, one half the other team.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. There you go.
So we'll see. I hope they both. All I care is that they both qualify.
Yeah, and like you mentioned before, young boys and Sofia don't really look like seem to be that much of a threat. Yeah, I do believe that Roma and Cluj are going to come up on top and stuff like that. So, if we just try to travel down here, I mean, Milan and Lille and Celtic. I mean, that looks pretty much of a well-balanced kind of group.
They might not get out of that, to be honest.
Yeah, you think so? I mean, Lille's pretty. Lille's
good. Celtic are good.
Yeah.
So there's a realistic chance that they don't make it through. It depends based on how they do in the league, is how seriously they're going to take. Because that's what I always think about is how seriously are they going to take this competition. We're going to take it seriously because if it's not, it's probably the most realistic. Actually, I don't think we could even win it, but it's probably we have a better chance of winning that than the league. Maybe the Coppa Italia, but we're going to I think we'll prioritize that. So I think in Milan, I think they have zero chance of winning anything this season, but they have a chance to get into the Champions League, and that's probably something that they care more about.
You got to admit, they look good, though. They look good.
If they want to win the Europa League, they will, but I'm not sure that's going to be their priority.
Yeah, their mindset somewhere else. Yeah, you're right.
I think it's just to qualify for the Champions League through the league. I honestly believe that. For Milan.
Plus, they had trouble with Rio Avenue. So, even though that way they ended was amazing and great, it wasn't. They should have won that game easily. So, I'm just not sure how serious they're going to take this. If they start doing badly and they're getting results in the Europa League, then maybe they switch their mindset. But I think they're going to be doing okay. Even with a couple injuries here and there, So I don't know if they make the Champions League anyways. I think there's a good chance they will, but there's also a chance that they won't. So it just depends on how the season goes. But I don't know. It'll be hard regardless to get out of the group. So we'll just have to see.
Yeah, it feels like it's a little too good to be true. This Milan side, I think. I mean, they seem to be too good. Like I don't know. It's just I feel like something's gonna happen. I feel like it's gonna be.
There's something missing.
Yeah, there's going to be that, and I feel like injuries, just one after the other. Boom, 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 boom. I feel like,
Right.
Well, I'll add that up by...
I was going to say, and I don't mean to take a shot, but if Theo Hernandez needs to learn how to defend better, or they're not making...
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I love how everyone calls him the best left back in the league when he can't do... Yeah, if you can't defend, you can't be in that conversation. I don't want to hear your name. And he's so great going forward. But literally, I saw a game last year against Genoa where dude just dribbled past him. It wasn't some Ronaldo stuff. It was just a routine dribble. So teams can basically look at this Milan team and they can attack that side of the field because they feel like they can get a gap inside the box because if he can learn how to defend at just a reasonable level, then he'll be amazing. But if they don't, if he continues to not be able to defend, then they're not going to make the Champions League. End of story. So I think I know it's a small thing, but that I think that's actually a big deal because of that part of his game is so noticeable to everyone who is going to line up against Milan. And so I hope he improves, but until that happens, I don't think that Milan are going to be as good as people think they are because they signed Ronaldo and they thought it was, they're going to make the top 3 now and stuff like that. And I just It just seems like they threw this. They have players who've been there a while, and they've also thrown this team together, and they're missing a couple pieces to really, take the next level. And Zlatan is going to be really important, but I don't know. I just have my doubts about AC Milan, and out of the Milans, I prefer that one to Inter. So I hope they make the Champions League if we don't, because I don't think we will. But I just think based on everything, it's going to be tough for them. So we'll see.
I agree on that Teo Hernandez part. I've always said this, right? I think with Teo Hernandez, ever since he got to Milan, they love him in Milan because, or at least what the Rossoneri do, because, he provides something different. He creates goals in the, but I think that's because of the current state of the team. If he was on Juventus right now or Inter right now, he would get bashed like crazy because he doesn't, he lacks that defensive ability. Yeah. Whereas I think because he's on a Milan team that's not like they used to be, I think he's getting a lot of praise because he's doing a lot more good than bad for that particular squad. Now, if he was on a different team, I think it would be a different scenario currently, in my opinion.
Agreed. I agree.
Francesco, anything you want to add there, bud? Sorry, we're all talking, stuff like that, so I'm trying to see if you want to add anything to that.
No, I just think it's going to be the hardest group possible in the Europa League for Milan. I think they need to prioritize this. Like Eliot was saying, if they are going to prioritize it, I think that's the Milan people are missing. Like Milan used to be able to prioritize Champions League, Serie A, Coppa Italia, and now like they're kind of picking and choosing which competitions they want to be ready for. So I think if Milan want to be in the step in the right direction, especially with Pioli, who I still think is he's on strings. I think his job's on the line this season. I think they need to prioritize every competition possible.
That's I feel like too. That's those are good points. Yeah, and I just feel like Milan are with the group. Aside what I said, I feel like they remind me of Lazio last season in the sense that they didn't care about any other competition. Like look at Coppa Italia. They didn't give a care about the Napoli game. They could have pushed harder. The Europa League, that was a joke. They all focused on. Inzaghi said, "Forget everything else. Let's push for the Scudetto. Let's do it. Let's show these guys what we're made of." Obviously, circumstances happen, injuries, Corona. We weren't the same team coming back.
Yeah, I don't know what happened because
the heavy schedule. It was just.
I thought.
So we know.
Right. So what I thought during that, and don't get me wrong, I was hoping like so much that Juventus was going to win it, but like I thought it was going to come down to who plays better between Dybala and Immobile, because I thought this title was going to be whoever won it. It was going to be be facilitated by one of those two. Yeah. Dybala won Juve the title, and if Immobile would have, if you guys would have won it, he would have done it. So I thought it could come down to that, and then you go on this stretch, and the thing is. At the beginning, I wanted it to be close just up until the end because my dream was at the last day of the season, Lazio were about to win the league, and then Dybala scores like 2 minutes and 2 goals in stoppage time to just like, but
I like the Aguero situation.
But like it's just like one of those things, and I think. I don't know. And then after the thing was over and Zaggy talked about, we would have won the league if it wasn't for Corona. We would have won the league if it wasn't for this. we would have won the league if I had something different for breakfast. I mean, it was just like he just thinking of all these excuses. And he's a great manager. Don't get me wrong. I just can't stand his stuff.
I'm in the middle. I don't know. There's times where it's like, and then there's times it's like, just take it. Take the criticism and just mold with it and go with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what the one pet peeve I have about Inzaghi. A great manager.
Yeah.
There was always something, and obviously our president being our president didn't help the situation. I despise the guy. As we mentioned to the boys, I despise the manager with all my passion, with all my heart.
He needs to take accountability too.
Of course, he just hides.
It's not always someone else's fault. Him and Conte always seem to do that.
Yeah, he hides. He hides all the time. So. I mean, we might as well talk about the Napoli group if you guys want. I mean, AZ, Napoli, Real Sociedad, and Ashika. I'm not too sure too much. I'm not familiar with this club. But I mean, Napoli seems like a newly formed Napoli in the sense of that they kind of, I mean, they had a little bit scared with Martins, Callejon is gone and stuff like that. They kind of tightened everything up. They made those new signings, which were great. They were fantastic. Chucky seemed to be right in the squad again after that kind of follow with Gattuso. I'm happy about that because I admire him. I didn't want him to leave so soon, so quick. I mean, West Ham were knocking on his door. A lot of Everton as well too. So it was very good for him to stay.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think Napoli. I think the only obviously team that they're gonna have issues with is Real Sociedad. Not only because of David Silva, but I mean, just the whole team in general. They're not a team that you should really joke around with.
They're a good team.
They're a good team. So I feel like those are the top two guys that are obviously going to clear. I think Napoli they're going to take first spot. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too.
Yeah. They're too powerful. Yeah, and so. Joe, if anybody wants to make any suggestions or anything like that,
I'll add to Napoli. So I think with their group, they should make it through, but I feel like Napoli does this thing, especially in European competition, where it's almost like Pazza Inter in a sense, where they get these like crazy results. So they'll win a huge game in the group, and then they'll tie or they'll lose the next game. So I feel like that's why Napoli is a weird team in Europe, because they just they have these like weird results. So I do think they'll go through, and they should go through easily, but a lot of times they just have these like odd results that you're like, what? How did they do that? Like, how did they get this result?
Yeah,
how did they win the first game, this game, and lose the next or tie?
I don't think they'll care, to be honest. I think they'll get through because they're just better than everybody else.
Yeah.
But I could see them going on immediately after that, because just my opinion, I think they're second favorites this season. So if you're going to be in the title race, and so far they've looked incredible. So if they're gonna really push for the title, I feel like they might sabotage European football for that, because that's probably going to take everything they got in them, especially with Inter and Juve probably back in there again, and maybe this is a surprise team that ends up being in maybe Atlanta or something like that. So it's gonna take everything they have. So I feel like if they're in the title race and there's not something that happens that drops them out of it too early, then they'll get through the group, and then they'll probably be matched up with someone. Maybe they'll win the round of 32 just because they'll probably be, they'll have a favorable team they're playing against. Yeah. But after that, I think they'll just sleep through the rest of the competition, because I don't think they care that much. Yeah. But Gattuso's different, so maybe he wants to win everything. So I think that's possible, but I still think they're just not going to take it as seriously because they want to win the league. And I think I don't know if they're the favorites, but I think it's a realistic possibility that they could win it. So I think because of that, they'll just not take it as seriously as teams like Roma. And I guess that's only an example I have, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I agree with Eliot on the mentality part, but I do think this year Napoli has such a deep squad that if they really wanted to, they could take every competition seriously, because up front they're deep, in the midfield they're deep. The only, I think, position they lack is at left back, but every other position I think they're so deep and they could compete in all three competitions, in my opinion.
Right. If this was Champions League, they'd go for everything. But I feel like there's less glory behind Europa League. I mean, I'd love to win it, but just for teams of that level, at least at this point, it just seems like it's not like they won't take it seriously, because I think they won't intentionally submit, but I just don't think they're going to take it as seriously as the league, because I think the league is going to push them so much, but they have a deep enough squad to win everything. But I think they'll just rather go for the league than win the Europa League.
Also, I think that's been an issue too with a lot of Serie A clubs, at least within the last 10, 15 years, is that they haven't taken the Europa League seriously when they're in the competition, it seems. Mm-hmm. So I could agree with you there. I think they might not take it seriously just because it's weird with Italian teams sometimes what they do with the Europa League and how they just don't really care as much about it.
Even Inter got to the final last year, and at no point did I think they were taking it seriously. I thought they just ended up there because of the way it was set up. I think if if Getafe and Bayer Leverkusen got a second leg, I think both of those teams would have beat them because it was close in both those games, so they could have flipped that around. So if it was a different format, I doubt that they would have got to the final anyways because Conte just never seems to be taking these European competitions seriously.
It's just like domestic leagues.
Yeah, he runs his teams into the ground, so they can't do it anyways. But just
Yeah, no, him and all of his fullbacks. There's 100 fullbacks that he has.
Yeah.
Oh, smokes! Talking about fullbacks already.
And midfield.
Sorry.
Don't forget about that midfield.
That's true, too.
The Bastards, Nainggolan and Vidal.
And Raja too.
Yeah, Raja, Nainggolan, yeah.
It's like the two goons coming on. Like you just sub them on every game, and
that's the thing.
Like the two goons are coming on.
They're like the Kamikaze brothers. Like honestly, like they don't care. They'll throw themselves at players. They don't.
No,
care.
for sure. If I saw those two walking down an alley, I'd run.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like Yeah. So, Francesco, do you want to add something with the whole Napoli table or?
No, I just think I think Napoli is gonna surprise people in this group. I think everyone's expecting them to go through with ease to top the group. I just think it's gonna be much harder than people anticipate. I know that Dutch team. It's a very good team, especially in Netherlands. They're very in that league. They're very tough and demanding. So I think they're gonna struggle against them. And then Real Sociedad. It won't be an easy game. So I think it'll be extremely close. I think between the first and third team, I think it'll be like 1 point difference. But I think Napoli will come first, maybe second. But I think it'll be tougher than people are anticipating it.
Fair. No, that's good. That's good. So it's good to be. It's just it's a shame to see. Like obviously we're a prestigious league and everyone we're getting that respect that we deserve. It's just it sucks to see that like we don't have a club that kind of tackles all fronts. Like we kind of see that in Atlanta a little bit. A little bit. Like, I kind of see that the Inter. I see the Inter 2010 in those guys a little bit. It kind of reminds me of them. But it's just it kind of sucks. That's like okay, we're attacking all fronts. Like our club is gonna attack all fronts. We have a chance to win it, and it's just like I don't get it. The mentality's not there. I guess these coaches are like, no, we're gonna go like with Sadi. Last season, Juventus, Bonucci, that loser, saying, "Oh, I'm okay with the Scudetto. I'm fine."
That was embarrassing. That was one of the. That was
don't even get me started on that.
Like, man, like, come on, like, you shouldn't even be on. I was like, and you're Italian, like, you play for our national team, like, you know what I mean? So
he should have been released. I mean, it was that and the Moise Keane stuff from a few years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, that should have been it. I mean, I don't understand why anybody would want to have him on your team.
I mean, I will say this. In all fairness, Allegri's been saying that same sentence, saying, "I've won the Scudetto, I've won the Coppa Italia. What more do you want from me?" He's been saying it for years, and it's been like slid under the rug. Bonucci, he said it, and it was like all guns blazing on the guy. It's not the best thing to say. Obviously, not the smartest thing to say. You don't want that mentality on your team.
Right.
But at the same time, I think when you're under Allegri for so many years, who said, we need to focus on the Serie A. That's our main goal. I think it kind of brainwashes him because he's not a leader in any aspects. Bonucci, he's more of a follower. He's more of a team player than he is a leader himself. So he kind of just follows in the footsteps.
I think the timing was bad too. They got knocked out of the Champions League. Then he says that. If he says it after they win the title, that's one thing. But that was an embarrassing performance by Juventus' standards. It's clearly from at least my viewpoint, they needed Dybala in that game, and it's clear that he was the most valuable. And it's just like, so to say those comments at that point in time, it just makes it look bad.
It wasn't good timing at all.
I completely agree.
Yeah. So I mean, it is what it is, and I mean, hopefully, one day in the near future we're gonna have a club or a couple clubs in our league that's gonna be like, you know what? Let's give all the fronts. Let's give them hell, and
we need at least we need at least one club that has the ability to do that, because there are leagues that I consider a lower grade than Serie A that have more than one team that are able to attack on all fronts. So And there's this whole misconception about the Serie A, and that doesn't help the argument either. So I think it's important that we get at least one. I'd like to get one team that's a favorite most years, and then one team that can potentially do something. And then I think the reputation will start to go back to where it was a few years ago.
Yeah, for sure.
There you go. Alrighty. All right, guys. We're gonna last talk about transfers. In this thing, we're gonna kind of grade our own club. A, B, and C, whatever. We'll just kind of see how the transfer window kind of treated us, how we treated the transfer window, our players that we got, what we want, the players what we wanted, maybe deals that we got, but we're really like iffy about it. Like, why'd we do that? You know what I mean? So I'm gonna start off with the with the Wonder Twins over here, Francesco and Joe over at Juventus. Guys, what'd you think of the transfer window? I mean, obviously there was changes on the coach end as well too. Pirlo coming in, the Suarez deal not coming through, other deals not coming through. What would you guys think? What would you grade your squad, and what kind of players would you want, and what deals were kind of like meh? We could have done better. Like, we don't need that guy.
Joe, do you want to go first?
Want to start, Francesco, or me?
You could start. I'll follow up on you.
So for me, I think that Juve did I would almost rate the way they reinforced the midfield as an A, because I really like their signings. I mean, Kulusevski we knew was coming in January. So far, Kenny, I think he had some good depth to the team, and I like his almost grinta spirit, like grit. Other than that, it's tough to say. I don't know if Morata's going to be a good signing. If he comes off the bench, and I really think he'll be a good signing, but I'm not sure about him. Other than that, I mean, they didn't address the fullback position, which I thought they should have done. But at the same time, I thought that Paratici mostly redeemed themselves this transfer window, so I'm going to give them a B.
Interesting. I'm gonna be in disagreement with a lot of Juve fans listening to this. I'm giving them a C+ for this transfer window. I think, like Joe said, the midfield I'm proud of the reinforcements. I think they could have got one extra piece, like a Houssam Aouar or a Thomas Partey, but it didn't happen. But I'm happy enough with the midfield for this season. In the attack, it was dreadful. I think it was a good move for a backup. Like Joe said, if it's a starter, it's not the right move. But as a backup, I think it could work out. The Chiesa situation, I think that's a mess. Getting rid of Douglas Costa, who's just injury prone, Douglas Costa, but at the same time, when he does come on, when he comes on, he's going to make a difference, whether that's against Barcelona, Madrid, Shakhtar, Fiorentina, any team. With Chiesa, he hasn't experienced life out of Italy. So yes, he might be okay enough to play in Serie A, which he hasn't even had a breakout season for the 5 years that he's supposed to. But when he experiences life outside of Italy, he hasn't even touched the Europa League. Imagine the Champions League against Barcelona. So that's my concern with him. Like Joe said, the fullbacks weren't touched at all. I think my dream signing for this window was Ricardo Pereira on Leicester. I think it could have been a realistic signing we could have made.
Yeah, that was mine too, actually.
Yeah, I think that was a signing we could have made. It would have been so beneficial under Pirlo's formation with the three in the back. But it didn't happen. It didn't materialize. But I say a C+. I think the Chiesa situation was the worst transfer we've done this Mercato. I think it's such an overrated signing. Everyone's celebrating it. I don't know why. It's such an overrated signing. He barely broke his best. What was his best record? I think was 2 seasons ago with 10 goals and 6 assists for Fiorentina, where he played 37 games. So I don't know. It's not from. Hopefully he proves me wrong. Obviously, I just think that it's such an overrated signing. I don't think he's going to do well at Juve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Quick on the Chiesa thing. Honestly, when I looked at that, I was laughing. I was like, really, guys? Really? Like, I would be happy for you guys if the Dzeko deal went through. That would suck a little bit for Ellie and stuff like that. But just have that extra target man, have that extra attacker. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he's a little older, but I'd rather take Dzeko than Chiesa, only because I feel like Zeko's the man who can get the job done. With Chiesa, on the other hand, like you said, Francesco, just injury after injury after injury. It's like, and these fans and these people just hype him up too much, and it gets crazy, and the fees get crazy, and so yeah, I agree with you 100%. Can
I say something about that real quick?
Yeah,
I just wanted to say my point of view. I think that was, out of all the transfers that have been conducted, that was the worst one by far. In terms of a big club. People don't like me saying this, but Florentina's his level. He's not a Roma player. He's not a Lazio player. That's above his head, at least at this point. There's nothing in his game that could justify himself being a 50 million player. And I think DePaul and him they're in a similar situation as far as what their level is. But at least with DePaul, you can make an argument that he could fit on one of these bigger teams.
Oh yeah.
But I think because I just think DePaul has a much higher ceiling. But Chiesa, he's quick. He scores on breakaways once in a while, but he just does nothing that excites me. And I'm not saying everyone needs to be flashy and all this other stuff. I like players who are grindy players and stuff like that. But for Juventus, it doesn't make sense because you already signed Kulusevski. You already signed a bunch of pieces of your midfield. You signed Morata, and you have DeBall and Ronaldo there. So it's like I just don't see where he would play. And you shouldn't sign someone for 60 million who's not going to start games. So, and I feel like Kulusevski will start over him, DeBall will start over him, Ronaldo will start over him, and unless you play him as a wingback, he's not getting starting minutes at Juventus, or shouldn't. So I like some of the stuff Pirlo has done, but this one just came out of left field, and I don't know, I just can't make sense of it. It's awful, in my opinion, because his level isn't even above Florentina, and he's going to a club that wins all the time, and he's not a guy you want to sign to win something.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I agree, and I think it was on the 3CalcioTeers podcast, and I said this. I didn't want Juve at the time to sign Chiesa, and now Juve signed him. But generally, I like how he tracks back, but you don't buy Chiesa to defend, unfortunately. You buy him to attack, and I think he's missing something in that final third that I think he needs. Maybe I think it's his decision making personally. I think he has all the tools to be a great player. His decision making is just not at the level it should be. Mm-hmm. And also I guess I can understand why Pirlo wanted him, just because from what I've seen, he's a Pirlo type of player. Pirlo seems to be that guy that wants a lot of players on the pitch, obviously, except for Ronaldo and Dybala, that are versatile. He wants that total football mentality where, his players basically do everything on the pitch. So I could see why he would want him, but at the same time, Juve's a pressure cooker. So now there's no excuse for Pirlo misusing him. It won't be like at Fiorentina, Iachini and Montella were being blamed on Calcio Twitter and all over social media for misusing Chiesa. Oh, Chiesa's been misused, this and that. But now at Juve, it's not going to be like that. He either performs or he gets left in the dust at Juve. That's just how it is.
Bernardeschi 2.0.
Maybe.
Possibly.
That would be accurate.
Yeah.
I just want to add on quickly to something I forgot to mention. The worst business that we've ever done in the history of Juventus, we still cannot get Sami Khedira out of this club. He is still a Juventus player. He is still a Juventus player. I remember watching the Juve documentary a couple of years back, and it was a video of Gianni Agnelli or Umberto Agnelli, I can't remember which one now, of him talking to Zidane saying, listen, if you don't win the Champions League with us, you're leaving Juventus. And he did not win the Champions League after a couple of attempts, and he left Juventus. We kicked out Zinedine Zidane. We can't kick out Sami Khedira. The backwards of where the club is gone is pathetic. The fact that we should just terminate his contract and that's it. It's just a whole mess. I think this is a bigger mess than Juve Napoli. It's a disaster. So I think that's the worst business.
Here's my take on the Khedira situation. Maybe Khedira and his family like Torino, and that's fine. But you should just end your contract with Juve, and you're rich. Why don't you just build a nice house in the Alps close to Torino?
Or he can sign
close
with
to
Torino.
Turin?
Yeah, he could be like Thomas Finkelon.
Buffirella, yeah.
More than half of that.
Yeah.
He could also build himself a house in the Alps and then not sign with anybody. But
Or go with Higuain and Matuidi up in Los Angeles.
Miami there. Right.
Oh, Miami. My bad.
Yeah.
Gosh, jeez. I'm just glad you guys didn't sign Correa because I know you guys were sniffing for Correa, and that would have been a much better signing, and I would have been kind of scared.
It would have been stupid to sell Carrera to Juventus out of all people.
That's the thing. But that's the thing, though. Lazio, we're kind of that club. It's like, okay, let's sell. You know what I mean? At times, you kind of get in that splurge
Make
where
profit,
we want to sell, right? So I got scared for a sec. I'm like, oh, he won't go because he loves the club. Obviously, in football, there is always a price and stuff like that on money talks at the end of the day. But that's
unless you're Totti.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole Totti might be going to Real Madrid story back in the day, and I'm glad he stayed, even though he's Roma, king of Rome. He stayed.
He got a title. He got a league title. Yeah. Steven Gerrard can't say that, so I think it was worth it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Okay, we're gonna move on to you. What do you think of Roma and I gotta say the one question though the El Shaarawy, my God. Like, were you? It hurts a little bit, eh?
It pisses me off. I think how the day ended justifies everything, but I celebrated as if it was going to happen, and then something happened with the finances of the Perotti deal, and then it goes through, and then I'm thinking, then maybe El Shaarawy's back on the table, and then it was reported that it was off the table. So I really would have loved to get him back. I enjoyed him. I didn't want him to leave to begin with, especially for the price that we let him go for. He is one of those wonder kids that never really panned out. Yeah. But with Roma, he did. I thought he did exceptionally well. I named him the player of the season the last year he was there. So it's disappointing. But in fairness, we have a lot of players at that position, which is, I think, partly why we got rid of Kluivert and Under, because I didn't see either of those two players fitting into Roma this season. And I still have a lot of faith in Carlos Perez. And we have Mkhitaryan who can play there and Pedro now. So it's just like, I think we have a lot of players. It just would have been nice to have him back. If this was another player that we were in negotiations for and it fell through, I wouldn't care as much, but because it was El Shaarawy and he wanted to come back and we wanted him to come back, then it was disappointing. But the way the transfer deadline day ended, I feel it was justified because of the Smalling thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm happy that Smalling is back. I mean, I was getting kind of nervous too. It's like, why is he going back to Man United? He looks so happy at Roma. You know what I mean? Yeah. Even though he didn't play for Lazio or another club, he looked happy. He looked fit. He looked great. Yeah. So for a second there, I was like worried too. I said, like, don't tell me Smalling's not going to come back. That guy needs to come back. Like, he needs Roma. Roma needs him. You know what I mean? They had that nice connection, that relationship. Mm-hmm. So, in regards of any other, like, was there a deal or anything you were just kind of like, man?
Yeah, let me just speak on. So, what deal it was I made on? No, I liked the business we did. Mm-hmm. I would give it a B-. I'm just going to talk about them individually. Pedro, it was free, which is great. Proven winner, leadership, won everything, and scored a banger against Udinese the other day. And I think he will come off I didn't know he was going to be starting, to be honest. I thought he was going to be a bench player, but it turns out that's not going to be the case. But there will be a game where he comes off the bench and beats one of these big teams. I just really think, and I don't think Roma are going to have that great of a season, but he'll have enough. Several moments like that. So I think the Pedro one's a slam dunk, even if next year he's not as good, because he brings all the things that Roma are lacking right now. So that was a good one. I really like the deals that were completed that were from last year. Like, I like Perez coming back, Gonzalo Villar, that deal from January, Ibanez from January, and then Jordan Vertut, his deal became permanent this summer, and I think he's the best. He's the best. He's the best signing we've had since like Dzeko. So I think he's absolutely phenomenal. I know that's technically not this transfer window, but I just thought I'd mention that.
You can elaborate, for sure.
Yeah, so I kind of consider Ibanez and Veretout connected to this window because their deals, just came across. And Perez, the one that hit me out, just sort of, I was so shocked by was Kumbula, because Inter was into him, Lazio was into him. There's a few other teams.
Pure robbery.
I know. It was just like, it was funny because I periodically during the transfer window check news like constantly. When I saw just the report, I was like blown away. And it's weird because I guess Verona deal with business better than Manchester United, but it's like we talked to them, we agreed, and he signed a contract within like 2 days. While it took like 40 years for Smalling to agree to the deal. Maybe. This because midweek with the Smalling thing, I was frustrated. I literally posted on my Twitter, "Dear Man United, fuck you." So
yeah.
So it's just frustrating. But Kumbula, I was so happy with because I talked about this on another podcast, but like it was like it's such an uncharacteristic Roma signing. This is like a signing an Inter makes or a Juventus makes, even like a some of the Premier League bigger clubs. Those are those typical signings. Him going from where he was, and he had a great season last season, but I think he's got everything. So the fact that he's only played one season doesn't really concern me. Then he comes to Roma when it's very likely we won't play Champions League next season, and he did it anyways. And we got it done for 30 million, which I think is for a defender, and I think that's the one position that's hard to buy quality for. So I thought the Kumbula deal was excellent. But the big one for me is the Smalling deal. I think that was important. If we would have got strung on that, I would have hated Man United forever and all that stuff. But like, it just would have been so frustrating. And then the Dzeko Milik swap, I wanted that to happen.
Yeah.
Initially, I love Dzeko. People don't know this, or I've mentioned this before. I was not recruiting. I was posting about Roma hoping to sign Dzeko when he was with Wolfsburg. So before he went to Man City, I was wanting Rome to get him. So that's how long my love affair with Dzeko is. But I was ready to pull the trigger because I don't look at Dzeko as someone who can get me 20 goals a season. Milik didn't want to come, which pissed me off, and he just rubs me the wrong way. But I knew he could get us enough goals. We end up signing Mariel from Real Madrid on a 2-year loan. He's only 23 years old. He had 9 goals last season. I think by mid-season he'll be the starting striker for Roma, and Dzeko will be dropped to the bench. And now looking back on the deal, it would have been perfect for Juventus because of his link-up play rather than a goal scorer because when they were looking at Suarez or Dzeko, I thought Dzeko makes more sense for Juve also.
Yeah, 100%.
And then since that deal went through, he missed 2 absolute sitters against Juventus. We probably should have won that game because, in my opinion, we outplayed them the whole game. Ibanez, when Ronaldo and Ibanez were head-to-head, Ronaldo did nothing. It was a perfect game for Roma, and if it wasn't for Dzeko, we would have got 3 points there. And then this week, the one that was a bad one, but the one against Udinese where it was a perfect ball from the midfield and he controlled it, and all he needs to do is put a decent touch on it because he was in good position with control. He misses that one, so I'm becoming very frustrated. I think maybe they go to a 2-striker formation because what's happening right now is it's not working. I think he should be dropped for the next game, and that you put our new guy out there and see what he can do. So I'm more or less happy with everything. I would have liked to get Rudiger as well from Chelsea. I would like to get him back with someone, just more depth at that position, just because of Roma's injury history. I just want as many defenders as possible because I think that's something we do quite well, and we have a lot of chemistry with our back line. So I think it would be important to have another depth. And then the other thing is I wanted another wing back, but we tried to get the guy from that just went to AC Milan, and I have a conspiracy theory that Manchester United sold him or loaned him to AC Milan instead of Roma to to basically piss us off. But that's the one thing I wish we had, because our options right there now are Santon, Karsdorp, but he's always getting injured, and then Perez, and then I don't know. I just don't love what we have at that position. Maybe there's a free agent we can get, but so that's the one thing I look away from it. But all things considered, I don't have a high expectations for Roma or for them to go get like a Rodrigo de Paul or something, because that would have been perfect. I also wanted them to get Kevin Lasagna as another striker. That didn't work either, but just things like that. But overall, I'm very happy with it. I think we'll get 6th or 7th this season, and my mentality about that is that's my expectation. So anything above that is great. But I think based on where we are as a club now, getting that selection of signings is good, especially because we couldn't do any business until the ownership took over, and we don't even have a sporting director. So the fact that we didn't have anything and we still addressed most of our needs, I'm very happy with sort of how everything went down.
Okay, alrighty. Wow, that was very good opinion on that, and Roma in the whole and stuff like that, and with all the deals and stuff like that. So that was good. What can I say about Lazio? I mean, I'm happy, but I'm not with my kind of signings, only because I still have nightmares at night with the whole Silva thing. Like, I wake up sweating buckets and just kind of like, what happened? Honestly, like, I was so excited for that. He was on the plane to go, and I'm all ready to go and everything, and Real Sociedad. And I'm like, and Lazio slacked on getting a replacement. It's like, guys, what are you doing? I'm like, and there were reports that they were looking into getting Juan Mata. I'm like, okay, not bad. Age is dwindling a little bit, but hey, let's pick up the pace. Let's go. I mean, they got Perez from Spal, okay, meh. But that wasn't really the person I was looking for to cover in that midfield, to help Serge and stuff like that, and all the other midfielders. And Lucas Leiva, he's getting up there. There's only so much that the poor guy can do.
Right.
The one signing I was very, so for the meh signing, it would be Perez. I'm not gonna say Pepe Reina because that's a given. That's too obvious. We need that kind of depth in the goalkeeper role. I wish we kind of went with somebody else, but whatever. We'll take him. We'll take him on. Kind of that leadership role, and kind of, because 3Calcio right now, he's hitting him. He's not really a consistent goalkeeper, I find. I mean, after that,
I really like him, actually. I love Frankowska. I think he's really good.
Too, but it's just like, when we need him in these big, like Atlanta, I don't know, these last Atlanta games, it's like, man, and I can't blame it all on him. We got to blame the defenders too. It's just, I like him. It's just, I feel like right now he's just hitting a slump, and I just need him for the bigger games. We need him for the bigger games. That's all.
Fair.
I feel like with the small games, he's great. He's good. Gentle, candidate for man of the match, you name it. But other than that, it's like, man, we need you when we're facing, the harder clubs and stuff. So, yeah, the one signing, obviously, I was really happy for was the Fenerbahce striker Vedat Mariki. I don't know if I can spell that or pronounce it right, but he was amazing for Fenerbahce last season. He was bagging in the goals. Obviously, he's coming to a different league, so he's going to have some sort of an adjustment. Obviously, we're a league, we're known for defense and stuff, so I feel like he's going to pull through. So for myself, I'm not going to go too harsh on my club. I'm not going to give him a C+. I'll just give him a straight B. They did good, but they could have done better. And even Gonzalo, what they got from, La Liga, it was okay. Like, you know what I mean? Nothing kind of like, kind of struck me, right? So,
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, too, Joe made a good point before we started. Lazio's not that team that, we can spend the big money. You know what I mean? We have players with high valuation. At the same time, though, we can't spend, these lucrative deals, like these 50 to 100 million. Yeah. We can't do that.
Right. Yeah, they don't make the revenue to do that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, if we were to brought some cups in and stuff like that, sure, obviously. But right now, especially with our president being, cheap that he is, and he's kind of cutting corners and stuff like that. I mean, I feel like for us to get that star signing is going to take us a while. We kind of we kind of blew it on the David Silva. Even though he's older, I still think that he would have made a difference for sure if he would have joined our ranks. So,
yeah, whoever. I mean, I think he's going to be great for Chelsea. But the striker thing, I have a question. Was there really a need though? Because I feel like you have a lot of good depth at that position, and the amount of money that you spend on this kid, this one from Fenerbahce, and he put up the goals there. And I don't know. I always feel like with those type of signings, there's always a concern factor whether or not they can do it in this league. But I think they'll be fine.
Adjustment of the league for sure. Yeah.
But I just think this. You have one of the best, if not the best striker in the league. Then you have other players, I feel like, in your team who can do that. So I don't know. I just was a little surprised by the fact that you guys prioritize that instead of prioritizing something, trying to get a Silva replacement when he decided that he would rather be in Spain than in Italy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I mean, Salcedo, what can I say about him? He's still good. Like, he's at 32 years old. Like, he's getting up there. He's still good. I think that for what kind of concern Lazio, and it's not really much of an excuse or like kind of an answer for it. I think they got paranoid. I think this was even though I like the signing, I'm not trying to backpedal. I think this was kind of a panic buying because
I agree completely.
And with that situation where Immobile was injured. Philip Salcedo was out as well too, and it's like, okay, well, who do you have? You have Carrera. He's great on the wings and stuff, but for him to play, up front, doesn't matter how you kind of play him, it's still a little dicey in my opinion. I feel like he doesn't have that. And then obviously you have Luis Alberto coming in from behind, which is a good, but I feel like it just wasn't there, and we suffered last season because of that. We suffered, right? So, I mean, only time will tell. We'll see. This could be a great signing, or this could be a disaster. That's why
I don't know. I sort of switched off because I thought you were going to have a better window. So I did my predictions way early, just because I'm a writer, so I had to get all my 20 done. So I didn't have time to waste before the season. So I did my stuff, but since I did it, like a whole bunch of stuff just changed in my mind. But the one thing, I had you in fourth, actually, when I did my predictions before the season started, because I thought, because you signed some good pieces, but then I thought you were going to get another midfielder and you were linked to some. So I sort of like, in my mind, it was like a foregone conclusion that you were going to sign somebody. And I think that makes the difference. And obviously you need depth with Immobile because I don't know. I feel like when he's not playing at a high level, or if he gets injured, you're in trouble. Just because I think he has so much value in your team. It's ridiculous. And I've mentioned this in the past. I don't care how many penalties he has, because when people are talking about like Ronaldo and. But this is the thing. This is the thing about that, though. And I've said this before. And Joseph, you probably heard me say this when you were on my podcast. But Immobile does everything. Like Ronaldo scores the goals and penalties, and he does other things. I'm not saying he's not great, but I feel like Immobile does a lot more than just score the goals, which is why the number of penalties he scores doesn't matter to me. But when he's not in your team, or when he's not up for it, or he's not playing well, the rest of your team doesn't play well. Savage isn't at his best. Luis Alberto isn't at his best. So it's like. It's like it's like he controls and dictates the entire team, and this is why I'm not as high on Inzaghi as other people, because when Immobile is not playing well, he doesn't make the adjustments to sort of propel yourself into a better position. So I think Immobile, I mean, it's good for depth, and because when he's not firing, it's just you can tell the difference between last year where you finished fourth, but in my mind, you still finished second. And then the year before when you finished like seventh or eighth, and Immobile had half as many goals. So it's just like that thing, it's obviously good for depth. But I just thought, like, going into your window, surrounding him with more pieces that don't play his position, just logically in my mind made more sense, just because if you surround him with other stuff, then Immobile can do what he does, and then when he's not playing well, the rest of the guys behind him can contribute. And you got a good team, but when he switches off or isn't at his best, everyone else seems to like not operate on the same wavelength.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm more. It's a shame because I'm more focused on the midfield. Like, I love Serge, I love I love what he does and stuff like that. And yeah,
Right.
you're right.
No, for sure.
I wish he was more of not a lone wolf, but more like not dependent on Immobile. Because like you're right, everyone depends on him, and it's like I get scared. I pee myself when he's gets the red card or he's injured. It's like, okay, so we're gonna have a dry spell now for the next 2 games or a game or whatever. We're gonna dock points now because it's like everyone is jumping on Immobile, and he's not getting any younger. He's 30, going on 31 and stuff like that. So like, how long is he gonna continue on this kind of brace that he's got going on? So I mean, again, time will tell. Solid B for Lazio. I can't go with confidence that this new striker is gonna bang in the goals because again, like we've mentioned, it's adjustment. The Turkish Super League is obviously way on a different spectrum than Serie A.
Right.
So these fans I kind of had to calm down my fans a little bit. It's like, guys, it's like, yeah, we're happy. Don't get me wrong. It's just
sort of let's wait and see approach, and sometimes that can be remarkable. I remember when Roma signed Fazio from Spurs, and I thought, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah.
and then Fred, I know he's not at that standard anymore. But for like 2-3 years, he was one of the best center backs in the whole league, and we got him for $2 million, and he made the semifinal. All this stuff. So, and same with Smalling. Everyone ripped it when we initially had it, and he was great. Everyone ripped off Mkhitaryan is great. So I think it's still a panic buy, but all you need is him to have that performance that gives him confidence, sort of like. And I think the Turkish league and Serie A is so different.
Yeah.
Because what I see with Weston McKennie. He plays like an Italian player, even when he was in the Bundesliga. So when he came over, and he's only played a couple games, but that first game was tremendous. And the reason it was, I thought that the deal made sense and that Juve did a good buy there was because he plays like an Italian player when he's not even there. Where the Turkish player, the Turkish league in Italy is so different that he's not going to just come and walk into this league as if he never left. Where some players, if you're in, I think Germany and Italy is somewhat similar, where you can make that transition and not really need to adapt to anything. I don't know. So I just find it interesting. That's all.
Yeah. No, for sure. The only thing and it's funny, Ellie, you disagreed with me something on the Eliot thing. No, Eliot McKinnon. Sorry. How I thought it was like an over thing. I still thought it was kind of like an overrated buy just because of the whole like American thing and stuff.
Okay, well, I have something for you then. I think he's the best American player. I think he's better than Pulisic.
Really? I'm gonna back that.
Really?
I'm gonna back that.
Really?
He's better than Pulisic. Okay, I'll go further. Tyler Adams and McKennie are better than Pulisic. And hear me out, right?
Wow.
So Christian Pulisic is the golden boy of American soccer.
Yeah.
All the American commentators talk about his because he's super fun to watch. He's athletic. He's playing for Chelsea. He does all these things, and it's a sexy position. Weston McKennie does not play a sexy position. Tyler Adams doesn't play a sexy position. But basically Weston McKennie in about 10 minutes was a star. I think he was a star, but made an instant at the Bundesliga. He's not there anymore. And Schalke looked like they're going to be relegated. Oh, he was 100%. He was holding that club up, and then he does these these gritty and dirty things where not dirty, but like he's tough. He passes well. He can play center back. He can be a midfielder. He can do pretty much anything. He's very versatile, and he plays a tough style of football. Where Christian Pulisic's game is based on flash, and everyone thinks he's just great. And he is. Don't get me wrong. He's more talented than anybody. But like as far as Tyler Adams is the same. I mean, he was great in the Champions League. He got that goal, which ironically was his first goal for Leipzig in that game where they knocked out Atletico Madrid. But both Tyler Adams and McKennie have certain qualities that work exceptionally well for what they're doing. So if Christian is in the national team without those two, they're not winning anything. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. Which is why when they signed McKennie for whatever $22 million. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be the best. I wouldn't say the best. I don't remember the word I used, but I said it'll be one of the best bargains in Juve's transfer policy over the next 5 to 7 years, because I think McKinney, the reason people don't rate it, and the reason I guess a lot of people when they signed him criticized it. Like the IFTV people are saying they never saw him play before, which whatever. But it's just like. It just got me. It irritated me when Marco said,
it's funny.
I don't even know.
Them up, honestly, it's hilarious.
I don't even know. It's like he said, I don't even know who the guy is. And then after his first game, Marco said, McKinney is exactly the type of midfielder that Juve needs. Like, as if they just irritate me because it's and they clearly have an agenda in the way they and don't get me wrong, it's a great page. There's a lot of good stuff that they put out, but a lot of it is agenda based. But just people just looked at the signing based on the fact he was American without going and watching the Bundesliga and stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, I watched Serie A more than any other league. I watched a bunch of Bundesliga. So when there are guys from the Bundesliga come into Serie A, I usually have a step ahead in terms of that. And I think McKinney for that price is ridiculous. I think he's worth twice that. So for Juve, and I understand the skepticism about the signing, but I think McKinney is somebody who's going to be really important for Pilro, and I think he's going to be a crucial part of that team. I don't think they're going to win it this year, but I think people after about a couple months, the Juve fans will look at him as a kind of a fan favorite because of what the things he does. Because the thing about Juve last year is their midfield was outside of like Bentancur wasn't very good. And they needed some stability there, and I think that's exactly what he provides, which is why I had this whole thing about why it was so important that they made this deal, and the price was ridiculous. It is the American thing is American thing because of the hype and everything like that, but he's not hyped up like Christian is. So anyway, I didn't go on like that, but
that was entertaining. That was nice. No, that kind of changed my aspect on the
when I saw your first episode, I agree with everything everyone was saying except that one point. So that's
the McKinney car.
Yeah. No, that's great, and this is why like we love the feedback and everything like that. And when I saw that comment, I was like, yes, like that's amazing. Someone just going with the grain or against the grain or however you call it.
I watch a ton of Bundesliga, so I wasn't like triggered by it or anything like that.
Yeah.
But when I was watching it, I'm like, what? So that was my live reaction.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. No, but it's just I just view it differently. My favorite players are the players like that do the dirty work. Numbers are overrated. When Dybala had 4 goals last season and Ronaldo had 15, he was still the best player in the league, at least at that point. So it's just like numbers are only so much, and I think the players like McKinney, and they're just going to last a long time because of what they bring to the game. Because it's just like anything else. They might not have the hype around it in a certain way, but it's just the little things that they do that make signings like that so important. And each other signing is just like the Veretout signing for Roma. No one thought it was going to be this great thing, but it turned out to be phenomenal. And I think when you sign Lucas Leiva as another example, same kind of idea where it was. You know what I mean? So it's like those type of players are actually I see as more valuable than someone who's that has all the hype and stuff on top of the deal.
I agree.
Yeah, that's good. I agree. Joe, Francesco, anything else you guys want to add? Oh, actually, real quick. I've got everyone here. Predictions. Just who's gonna win the league? You guys think? Just quick lightning round. Who do you get? Elliot, who do you think? Boom, go.
Inter.
Quick. Inter. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Francesco, what do you think?
Juve. Simple.
Joe.
Unfortunately, Inter.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Inter.
I made a joke of Lazio of winning and stuff like that, but we all know that's not going to happen. We had a shot to do it.
You couldn't have the parade anyways because all the fans inside the city are Roma fans.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah. Don't stop.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna go with Inter as well, just because obviously they had their ups and downs last season, but they came super close. And I think Conte's kind of he's got that support and backing from the president now. Because last season he was going to leave. Who knows if he was actually going to leave? But I felt like, I agree with Conte, like in a sense that like I felt like he didn't get that back. And obviously, we don't know what happened behind the scenes, but he didn't feel like this president didn't really give him the backing or the respect kind of needed and deserved. And at the end of the day, we could say Conte this, Conte that, but he is a coach that is high up there. He isn't a Rafa Benitez or anything like that, like a kind of Rafa Benitez at Inter, I would say, that kind of mediocre coach. I'm not saying Rafa Benitez at Liverpool, all right?
Yeah.
So it's yeah.
I just want to say one thing. I said Inter, but I'll say this: because of this, they're gonna win the league. They'll give Conte an extension. They'll be strapped, and they won't win for another decade. That's my prediction.
That's funny you say that because
they can get Allegri afterwards. If they don't win the league, they can get Allegri, and then they're in a position to. And Conte's great, but there are certain stipulations of his style, and I don't think. And all the signings they made was Vidal, who's not over the hill. The only young player they really brought in was Hakimi. Everyone else is on the back half.
Yeah.
And because of that, they're gonna win the league. Then they're gonna be strapped. And then next season, they're gonna have all this old pieces around with no youth.
Yeah.
And so anyway.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be like a Chelsea curse in a sense of like you win the league, you get the respect, and then the following season it's like, blah, it just kind of just fall.
It's gonna be like Liverpool when they won it, not last year, but the time before that, where they won it, and then now it's gonna be all this time with no one. Because I think after that, it's gonna position teams like Milan and Lazio and Juve will get back in there, and Napoli to win it. And long term, I think just because of the talent that some of these other teams have, it's gonna be difficult to. Because I think there's no chance they go back to back. I think they win it. Conte picks it up, and then they don't win for a while.
Yeah, it's like Inter 2010, and then goodbye for a couple of years. Exactly. Yeah. And sorry, Joe, you were going to say something there?
Here, man. Great thing to hear.
Yeah, great thing to hear.
I don't mind it either. I don't like Inter as well.
Yeah. So. Okay. All right. So I think it's time that we conclude this episode. Honestly, this was one hell of an episode. Eliot, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, no problem.
Blowing us away. That was great. I'm looking forward to listening to your other podcasts as well too.
Yeah. Can I plug my stuff real quick?
Sure. Yeah. Go for it.
Go ahead.
Go.
Yeah, I just wanted to do this. So I'm on I have a blog thing like Joseph. I have over 900 articles. I'm gonna hit 1,000 probably in the next couple months. It's everythingroma.blog, one word. I'm on Instagram at 24/7 Italia Football. Same on Twitter. I have a book coming out at some point. I don't know the details or anything like that yet. And then So then I have my other podcast, The Cannon Snakes and Limpico on Anchor Podcast. Joseph has been on it twice. And then I have two podcasts on YouTube. One is a more sports, not football, but other sports podcast called Point of View. Another one is the Football Index, which is more about football history and tactics and stuff like that. And I think that's it. But I just wanted to get my stuff out there.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. That's great. Definitely gonna look into that, and I'm gonna look out for that book. That's for sure.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Francesco, Joel, anything you want to say before we sign off here?
No, just everything's good.
It's a pleasure talking.
Right, perfect. Okay, all right. So this concludes our episode. Thank you so much. We will all talk soon. And Roma and Juve merda. I'm kidding. Just kidding. Kidding.
Best
of luck to Roma this season.
Yeah, likewise.
I hope Smaldini, kind of just towers everybody and scores some headers and stuff like that.
I hope you get second.
Sorry?
I hope you get second. Just don't win anything.
Just don't win anything. Yeah. Exactly.
Just come really close, but don't win.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Go far, but don't win. There we go.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right, boys. Thank you so much. We'll talk soon. Okay?
See you guys
All right.
later.
Okay, ciao.
Oh.
Bye.
Thank you.